Alright, so in this video, we're going to talk about some best practices and best gear for riding in freezing temperatures. Let's check it out. What's going on YouTube? FXDLS Brooklyn is back in the building. People are going to start calling me FXR Brooklyn, man. I've been doing so many FXR miles this particular winter. But yeah, a lot of people are seeing me get after it in the freezing temperatures out here. And a lot of people are pretty bluntly just asking me, dude, how are you doing that? I've gotten a lot of requests to make a video just of what I do to make it happen. Just kind of wanted to respond to those requests and make a video that might be helpful to some of you who are trying to get after it this winter, as we still have about, you know, a good amount of cold weather, a good amount of cold days left in this winter. So look, you all know the deal with my channel. In terms of riding philosophy, riding in challenging conditions, in hard conditions, pushing yourself to do that stuff is 100% part of what we do on this channel. But then I realize I don't always give you all the tips and the best practices that I've had to kind of learn the hard way of how you do that. So look, everyone sees it on Instagram, everyone sees it on whatever, where you just see so many people, especially in places like on the East Coast, whether the winter just started or midway through the winter, people just saying, oh man, I miss those summer days. They're posting pictures of them riding around in t-shirts, and they're just like pining after those summer days. And I see that, and to me it's just like, dude, number one, it's not a healthy way to live to mentally reject your current reality and grasp and wish for something that doesn't exist in the moment. So it's like, look, you could cry all you want about how the conditions are not ideal for riding, about how the cold hurts and it's not fun to ride in, or you could come at it with a different attitude, the positive mental attitude, the stay low attitude, the pay the iron price attitude, and you could say, you know what, I'm going to challenge myself this winter and I'm still going to get after it. I'm not going to be defeated by winter. I'm not going to be defeated by the elements. And I'm telling you, it'll make you a better rider. It'll make you a harder rider for sure. And honestly, I think it'll make you a better person in general. Because I've been riding in conditions like this. Like today, we're at a 32-degree day right now. And I've been riding in conditions like this for a good 6 or 7 years now. And at this point, you know, when I hit a day like this, when we're talking 32 degrees, because I still go out when it's in the 20s, even sometimes when it's in the teens, that makes a day like today that's 32 degrees that, you know, before I started doing this type of riding, I would say, yeah, that's really cold, you know, I don't want to be outside. But now, because I've conditioned myself to ride in conditions that are more extremely cold than 32 degrees, what we're in right now, that makes 32 degrees for me now kind of feel like a spring day, you know, when I'm comparing it to 20 degrees or I'm comparing it to the teens. And that goes when I'm off the bike too. I just kind of have a better relationship with cold weather in general, where I used to really hate the winter like a lot of New Yorkers do, but now I've actually come to really enjoy the season because I'm getting the most out of it. There's a lot of really amazing things about riding in the winter, one of which is just, you know, if we talk a little bit about earth science, which I only just passed in high school, but if you notice, the sun hits in a very, very unique and cool way that you just don't experience when you're riding in the spring and the summer. So you get really awesome sunrises, really awesome sunsets. Like I'm talking about right now, people don't want to be out when it's this cold, so I always notice that the roads are always less congested and just a little bit calmer. So for me, I always enjoy my rides in the winter because of those conditions. So yeah, I'm making the argument that there's a lot of benefits to riding in freezing conditions. Obviously, there are some downsides, right? So number one, if you're somebody that really babies your bike. Like, your bike has to be spotless clean at all times. If you scratch the paint, if you do something, it's going to be the end of the world. I wouldn't recommend this type of riding for you, because yes, a lot of people bring up the salt factor. Yeah, man, you know, you're gonna get hit with salt. And is it gonna affect the paint at some point or affect some things? Absolutely. Me personally, you know, my riding philosophy, as the great Peter Gunn said, it's a motorcycle. Don't just wash the thing, ride the thing. And that's kind of been my philosophy with this bike. You can see it's not clean right now, you know? So you kind of have to be okay with not babying your bike and letting it get some salt on it, etc. And that's it, man. I don't own this bike to make it look pretty, to make it look clean. I own this bike to rip around on it and keep things moving. And let me take it down a little bit. Yeah, I definitely just got flashed for a speeding ticket on that one. saw the cameras, that was stupid. Yeah, so not only do you want to take your speed down, you know, just so you're not getting hit with speeding tickets, which again, I definitely just got one. But also, you know what, like the conditions and the roads, you do have the salt, you do have the sand, you do have the roads being cold, you do have the tires being cold. So you'll notice that when I am doing this type of riding, I'm generally taking it down. I'm generally not riding fast. I'm generally not riding hard. I'm just kind of chilling, you know, and I'm just doing my best to survive. Because again, number one, if you're out in a place like New York City, we're littered with speed cameras in certain places. But number two, you're contending with some pretty gnarly conditions already. So look, when it's summer, when it's spring, when you got warm tires, you know, and warm pavement, go ahead, ride hard, ride fast, do your thing. But if you're already challenging yourself to be out here in extremely cold conditions, again, that's when you probably want to take it down a little bit. It's not the time to be doing your 100% hard riding. It's the time to stay low and be realistic and ride your motorcycle so that you could come home and ride another day. In terms of what you need to do it, and again, we're talking freezing conditions. Number one, you're going to need a heated jacket liner. I run the Gerbing heated jacket liner. That's been really good for me. You're probably also going to want heated gloves. I also run the heated gloves by Gerbing. This is my second pair of heated gear by them. After about 2 seasons, I burnt out the first pair, and I think that's kind of just the way it is. Even after sending it back to the company to be repaired, you know, it's an investment, but that's probably the biggest thing that's going to get you out there riding realistically. Because look, dude, if your core gets too cold, you're going to get your circulation cut off from your hands, and your hands are probably one of the most important components of your body when you're riding your motorcycle, because that's what's controlling things. So you want to keep the blood coming into your hands. Best way to do that, keep your core warm, and then obviously keeping your hands warm through the gloves is important too. So if you're trying to do this stuff, definitely invest in heated gear. Next thing you want to think about, what I do is think about your legs. So the first MFG York riding jeans are actually really spectacular jeans for the cold weather riding, because they're fully lined in Kevlar. So not only do you have like tank grade protection over your entire legs, but you also have the Kevlar to keep your legs warm. Right now, that's kind of all I'm running, and again, we're in the 30s and I feel really comfortable. When it's in the 20s or the teens, what I'll do is I'll layer these jeans with a Carhartt extreme cold long john, or like long underwear, and for me that's been enough to, you know, keep my legs pretty comfortable, you know. And also these jeans you can run knee pads in them. If you don't have lower fairings, like if you're on something like a Dyna or an FXR that I'm on right now, your knees get really cold, so you're going to want to throw those knee pads in, because they act really well as blockers against the wind. So not only do you get more protection, but you get something to block the wind. So run knee pads, that really helps. In terms of other wind protection, run a full face helmet. You're not going to do this type of riding when it's this cold in a half helmet. It's just not going to happen. You need a full face helmet to keep that wind off you. And in that regard, also run a pin lock, because things fog up really easily in the winter, right? if you have a pin lock, you're giving yourself an added layer of protection to not have things fog up too much on you. So that doesn't necessarily work the best if you're wearing riding glasses, which I'm actually wearing right now. I do like to wear low-grade prescription glasses just to make everything look like HD, especially at night. And again, you know, it's not gonna support your glasses not fogging up. But if you're especially someone that doesn't ride with glasses, the pin lock is a major upgrade in terms of cold weather riding. And the next thing is you kind of just need to know your bike or your bikes. Because the interesting thing is this bike that I'm on right now, in terms of riding in freezing conditions, is the bike that actually handles it the best, 100%. This bike starts up with no problem without even being on the tender for the entire duration of the winter in freezing temperatures. And it's really bizarre, man. It's a 1988 FXR, and it's carbureted, and the thing just performs so well in the cold conditions. Which is funny because my most modern bike, my 2016 Lowrider S, actually doesn't perform that well in the cold. You know, I've had issues getting it started. I've ridden it to the gym before in like 20 degrees only to have the battery not be able to start, to the point where, you know, you got to ask somebody for a charge and charge the damn thing. If you are experimenting with it for the first time and getting out there in the cold weather for the first time, just be prepared. You know, your battery might not be able to handle it. So whether you bring your own jump kit or you know somebody that has one, just be prepared if you're parking the bike for a minute that it might not want to start again, especially if you're riding in like something below 32 degrees. But that's really all I got for you. Those are a couple tips and essential pieces of gear. The last thing I'd say is get yourself a quality jacket like the first MFG Raider, which I'm wearing right now. It does come with a insulated jacket liner, which 100% is amazing for these conditions. That combined with the heated jacket liner, you could really take on anything in terms of being cold. That's really all I got, everybody. Stay safe, stay low. Now that FX Sales Brooklyn is out.